What's up everyone? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, how are ya? So for today's video, I wanted to do another story time for you guys. I know I haven't done one in quite a while, but today I wanted to kind of do another work experience video and discuss the time that I worked at Tuesday Morning, especially because they just filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. I thought now would be a good time for me to talk about it since 99% of me is never going to go back to this company. So, I'm going to be kind of talking about my experience, what I've learned, and how it's helped me grow. I will have aliases for the people I talked about, so if you want to see me spill some tea, then keep on watching. So, I was working at Tuesday Morning for about 8 months. I worked there probably, I would say, over 3 years ago, so I feel like it's appropriate for me to talk about my time there. The application and interview process were pretty easy, and I had started working there within a week of having my interview. The first day of work was pretty good for the most part, except I did not come prepared with my snacks for break or my water or anything like that. So the customer base in the store was pretty much everyone, and some of the duties that I had while I was at work were, interacting with customers, a lot of customer service, answering the phone. We always had to answer the phone no matter what. Cashiering, unloading freight. We had all of our freight in like freight carts and stuff, and so we had to unload each cart to a specific part of the store. Then we had to look up certain items that customers were looking for on our online database to see if we had it, and then if not, we had to call other stores to see if they had it. Then I had to complete the tasks that were assigned to me in the store's team binder, all the tasks for the day and stuff. And then since I closed most of the time that I was working at Tuesday Morning, I did a lot of recovery. I got a lot of praise from my boss, Juju, who really liked the way I did recovery, except one of the other assistant managers I worked with, Ro, she didn't like it, so it was really weird. Anyway, so I did the usual closing duties. I cleaned the bathroom, wiped down the doors, I checked and counted money that was supposed to be going in the safe. And then our dress code as Tuesday Morning were the navy blue Tuesday Morning company t-shirts. We also had to wear jeans and tennis shoes. Honestly, I hated working in jeans. It was so uncomfortable for me to wear them for such a long period of time. And the minor details include the fact that we did have a 20% discount on everything in the store. Personally, I wish it was more than 20%. Breaks were 10 minutes, and at the time I made minimum wage, which was around $10 an hour. I did get a small raise, like 50 cents, so it was like $10 or $11, but not very much. And then some of the things that I liked about Tuesday Morning were a lot of the customers I had were very friendly to me, very nice. And I remember specifically there was a gay couple who came in, and one of the guys had complimented me on my makeup, since I did always take the time to make sure my appearance looked good while I was working there. I was one of the only ones there that really cared about my appearance and pulled myself together in that way. So I also got along really well with Juju, my boss. She was super nice and super friendly towards me, super easy to work with, and I really liked being able to discover new home decor and holiday decorations and merchandise. And I also made a couple good friends with some of my coworkers, not all of them though, but those other things that I didn't like about this job were that my schedule was not flexible by any means. I was closing most of the time, and after a while, closing got to be too much for me. It just really messed things up for me in my schedule, my routine. And so I tried to get more opening shifts, but my boss wouldn't let me because all of them were taken, all the spots were taken for opening shifts. So I was very frustrated about that. And then some of the coworkers were just kind of weird. I remember one coworker in particular. He kind of looked like Santa, honestly, because he was fat, sunglasses, like with glasses and white hair and a beard. Let's just call him Dan. Anyway, so Dan was nice to me, but he just had a very, like, dirty sense of humor. I was personally not comfortable with that, and I just didn't really like being around that. Anyway, so, I also had a lot of pressure to get people to sign up for the emails. Tuesday Morning was really big on getting people to sign up for their email list, where they sent out like different deals and stuff that were going on, different sales. And I noticed that I got the most amount of people to sign up for emails compared to my other coworkers, which was a really good feeling because it was very like pressured, and I really had to like make sure I was doing it. And I also think that a lot of Tuesday Morning's merchandise is very overpriced, considering the fact that it's supposed to be a discount retailer. I don't really understand why it's like so overpriced, especially because we only have 20% discount. But anyway, so the job itself, when I was working at Tuesday Morning, even though I was only there for a relatively short period of time, as most people would say, like just less than a year, I just felt really exhausted after a while working there. My lifestyle is completely turned upside down. I was dealing with a lot of stress at the time from school and transitioning over there. I just had a lot on my plate with work and school, especially because I was in honors, all of that. And I was just really exhausted. I started getting really lazy and not taking care of myself the way that I should have been. And that's pretty much what led me to resign from the job, was the fact that, you know, I just kind of let myself go in a way. I decided to resign, not only because all of the things like that I didn't like, you know, the schedule not being flexible, but I just fell out of love with that job in particular. My health was really headed for a nosedive, and I talk a little bit more about my health issues if you watch my fitness journey story time. If you haven't seen that, I'll link that in the description, so you go check that out. But it was just, I wasn't taking care of myself. I just wasn't at a good place with anything, and I just needed to reset my life, reassess my priorities, and focus on putting myself first and taking care of myself, which, looking back, I think quitting that job was probably the best thing I could have done, because I think if I still was working at Tuesday Morning, I would still be very miserable and probably a shell of who I am now. I can't even imagine what that would be like, but yeah. I also, another thing I didn't like about working at Tuesday Morning was I felt a lot of pressure from my coworkers to date one of my assistant managers who I closed with. Let's just name him Dalton. Dalton was really nice to me. He was super friendly. He made me laugh. We had fun together. But I really wasn't attracted to him like that. And I also believe that I don't think it's necessarily professional to have, you know, a relationship with someone, like, you know, with one of your coworkers. That's just me. Everyone else is different about that. But also, I just didn't like the pressure I was feeling. Just kind of gave me a gut feeling about everything. And I also didn't like the fact that another assistant manager of mine, Ro, she often underestimated me when I was working with her. She often would underestimate me and my ability to do my job. And it was very frustrating because I hated feeling like I wasn't good enough at my job, because I did work very hard there during my time at Tuesday Morning. So I just hated that feeling as well. And some of the things I learned from Tuesday Morning were that, you know, it's really important to just have a strictly professional relationship with your coworkers. I mean, of course, you can be friends with some of them, but I don't think it's wise to be more than friends with them. And then on top of that, you need to be adamant about the hours you want to work, especially because my situation, I wasn't given flexibility with my schedule, and that was really, really frustrating to deal with. And another thing to keep in mind is don't be upset about putting yourself first. I think if you're not putting yourself first, then everything's going to be out of whack, your priorities, your health, everything. So don't feel upset about doing it, even if it disappoints and confuses people. I know for me, after I left Tuesday morning, I didn't have a job for at least like 9 months, and on a resume that could look really bad, but for me, I think that was just the right amount of time I needed to take care of myself, get my life back on track, and it was definitely worth it in the end, because now I'm in a job that I absolutely love and I am so grateful for. And last but not least, make sure that you find another job before quitting your current job. I have made this mistake not once but twice, and it has really, backfired when that has happened. And I think it's always good to be prepared if something doesn't work out, to have something so you can go to, because if not, it's just going to make people look at you like you're not willing to work, or you're not, it's not going to look good. So, I mean, that's pretty much what I've learned. I will have to say, even though it wasn't like my best time in my life working at Tuesday Morning, I would say it was a pretty okay job. A lot of the stuff there was cool, but like I said, I didn't really like the cheap discount. I also heard something from one of my coworkers that I'm actually like good friends with, Stone, I'll just call him that, but he had told me recently that I guess obviously with like people who go on maternity leave don't get really paid. I've also heard that like Tuesday Morning doesn't really treat their employees very well. So with all that set aside, also considering the fact that they just went into bankruptcy, I'm glad I left when I did, especially because I don't like the fact that they don't have an online store. I see why they, be losing business. And I think their business practices, too, are not really the best. And, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much my experience and my thoughts working there. Obviously, I don't miss working there. I'm glad I left when I did. At least I got a few friends that I made during that time. And I have, like, at least a few good memories from that experience. But, I don't know, it's not a job that I would necessarily, like, recommend to anyone else. And, I was supposed to be there for a reason, but, I'm not really sure how else to explain it, but, I was able to learn a lot from that time, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity, and, I'm grateful that I had the time to take care of myself, get myself on track with everything. And yeah, I mean, would I recommend Tuesday Morning to anyone else? Maybe, maybe not, depending on the kind of person you are. It's not for everyone, but I certainly wouldn't recommend it because I've heard that more stores have been closing, especially for Tuesday Morning, and also not only because of the unfair treatment of employees, but also just the small discount, the inflexibility of scheduling, and all that. I mean, for me, if I was running it on like 5 stars, I would say it was like a 3, 2.5, 3 out of 5 stars. Not my favorite, but it wasn't that bad. But I just wouldn't recommend it to anyone else. Even though they do have like cute stuff, I just don't think that it's worth the price point. I think you can find a lot of other stuff similar to what Tuesday Morning carries at better deals. And yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on Tuesday Morning. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please let me know in the comments down below if you've had similar experiences to me in retail or just Tuesday Morning. Or let me know in the comments if you want to see more Storytime videos like this. Definitely let me know, and I will continue to do so. And if you're new to my channel, please subscribe if you haven't already. I would definitely appreciate it. And if you want to stay up to date with my content and be known every time I post a new video, definitely be sure to hit the notification bell. And yeah, I don't know what I'm going to be filming next. So until next time, stay sassy.